On a stormy night, somewhere on the Bailean Strait, a fishing boat is slowly pulling in its nets. The men pull the ropes. A large amount of sea fish pour out. At this moment, they discover an unidentified object is slowly moving under the pile of fish. As a few people slowly approach, the unidentified object suddenly attacks. Startled and squeezed, they hurriedly pick up the harpoon and axe. Facing the unknown creature in front of them, they seem particularly nervous. 3 people slowly move forward to inspect. The unidentified creature suddenly flashes out, knocking the man in the yellow shirt flying. 2 people struggle to drive the unidentified creature into the cabin with a harpoon. Seeing the injured crew member, the captain hurriedly opens the communicator to call for support. At this moment, a strange sound enters the ears of several people. Just as one person is preparing to open the hatch to check, a helicopter suddenly appears. Several armed personnel quickly descend onto the deck. After pulling the injured crew member onto the helicopter, the captain directly opens the cabin door. Looking at the unidentified creature in the cabin, the captain doesn't seem surprised. He orders his subordinates to control it with a tranquilizer gun, then put it into a specially made iron cage. Just like that, with the unknown creature and the injured crew member, they disappear into the night. At this time, not far from the sea surface, a strange fishtail slowly dives into the sea. The next day, inside a mysterious military base, the bald man is reporting to the commander. They walk into a laboratory, only to see a large fish tank. Inside is a mermaid with a strange face. In the bar, the crew tell Jack about their encounter, wanting Jack to help find the one taken away by the military. But Jack, who works at the Ocean Research Center, doesn't believe a word they say. Just as Jack is on his way back, a girl suddenly appears in front of him. Fortunately, Jack breaks in time. The girl is seen with disheveled hair, naked, desperate to escape. What's strange is, this big girl seems not very good at walking. Staggering, she faints after a few steps. Jack can only drape his clothes over the girl and help her into the car. Looking at the girl with rapid breathing, Jack immediately contacts the doctor to rush to his residence. The girl wakes up and looks around, seems curious about everything. Seeing the shells on the table, she directly picks it up and smells it. Jack tries to communicate with her, but the girl just stares at him strangely. At this moment, the girl suddenly opens her An ancient and mysterious sound comes out. Jack is instantly attracted by this wonderful singing. Suddenly, a knock on the door interrupts the girl. It turns out the doctor has arrived. When the two enter the room, they find the girl has disappeared. The girl hides in an abandoned boat and sleeps for a night. When the girl wakes up, she seems to find her own feet strange. A mouse jumps down. The girl grabs it in one hand. After a good meal, the girl walks around the street, looking east and west. Seems to be looking for something. At the entrance of a marine antique shop, the girl stops. The old man looks at the girl in front of him. His expression gradually solidifies, even becomes terrified. Just then, Jack, who happens to be passing by, spots the girl. By the time he crosses the road to the old man, the girl has disappeared. Jack immediately asks about the girl's whereabouts, but the old man doesn't mention a word about the girl, then hurriedly goes into the house. At this time, the girl comes to the dock. Here she finds a fishing boat named Polaris. She walks to the front of the fishing net and squats down, then closes her eyes and starts to remember. It turns out the girl is the mermaid in the legend. Just because she and her sister were hunting in the deep sea, her sister was caught by a human fishing net, finally disappeared. She took the risk to come ashore to find her sister. With no clue, she can only rely on her feelings to search around. At this time, a toy, the plane, caught her attention. Thinking of that night, it was this thing that took her sister away. She learns the sound from the TV, names herself Ryan. Ryan comes to a man who repairs cars, takes out the toy plane in her hand, signs the man to help her find her sister. Then she gets into the car, looking at the silly Ryan. The man with bad intentions drives the car into the small woods. Little does he know, this is the beginning of his nightmare. This man is about to die. He took the girl into the woods. Just as he was about to do something wrong, he was instantly blasted out of the window by the girl. He was killed on the spot. The girl took off her bloody coat. Due to long-term dehydration, the skin on her arm has begun to peel off. The girl's name is Ryan. She is the oldest creature in the ocean, the mermaid in the legend. Just a few days ago, her sister was caught by a fishing net and disappeared. She took the risk to come to the human world to find her sister. At this time, Ryan found the pattern on the distant house is the same as on her clothes. She went straight to it. After arriving in the house, Ryan saw the fish milkshake on the table. She picked it up and drank it all at once. After a full meal, Ryan went to the door. The performing seal suddenly roared, as if seeing a natural enemy. At this time, Jack, who returned to the studio, found Ryan. Ryan hurriedly ran into the house and looked at him with hostility. Jack slowly expressed his kindness to Ryan. Ryan calmed down slowly. Jack told Ryan, the night they first met, the song hummed from Ryan's mouth, that ancient and mysterious sound, as if bewitched, always lingering in his mind. Seeing the weak Ryan, Jack carefully checked her arm, told Ryan he was going to find a doctor to check her. But Ryan, who had not seen the doctor for a long time, at this time, due to long-term dehydration, the dry skin has peeled off in large areas. The weaker saw the sea outside the window. She struggled to crawl out. With the last bit of strength, she crawled hard to the water. Then she dived into the sea. Under the nourishment of seawater, Ryan began the painful transformation process. Palm gradually becomes a flipper. A fin grows out of the back. The legs are transformed into connective tissue and become a fishtail. In an instant, Ryan became a beautiful fish. Jack found an anomaly in the surveillance. He thought it was Ryan falling into the water. He hurriedly picked up the flashlight and dived into the sea. But after Ryan turned into a mermaid, her temperament changed greatly, and very aggressive. Jack was attacked before he figured out the situation. Ryan hit Jack head-on, almost bit off Jack's neck in the fight. Jack struggled to break free from Ryan and swam quickly to the surface. But Ryan caught up and dragged Jack down. In a hurry, Jack picked up the harpoon on the shore. In the panic, Ryan was repelled. Only then did he successfully escape from the water. Ryan is now heading towards the deep sea. Jack, who was panicked, came to the antique shop of the old man Helen. He told Helen about his experience, because when Jack was a child, Helen often told him the story of the mermaid. At this time, Jack deeply believed that Helen knew everything. Helen saw Jack's experience, then she told him everything. This is an ancient legend. In this town, his family history is more bloody than he knows. It turns out that hundreds of years ago, Jack's ancestors discovered the traces of mermaids in the deep sea. At that time, the mermaid tribe was a timid, extremely gentle species, but Jack's ancestors lost their minds. Seeing the capture of mermaids as glory, led the crew to sea many times to slaughter mermaids, causing the mermaid race to be almost extinct. Later, the surviving mermaids gradually became bloodthirsty and brutal. Jack can hardly imagine what Helen said. Back in the car, Jack opened the mermaid storybook. Looking at the picture of the fisherman slaughtering the mermaid in the book, Jack feels ashamed. The next day Jack boarded the Polaris fishing boat, because the crew told Jack before they were attacked by mermaids, but Jack didn't believe it at the time. The captain decided to go to sea again to find the mermaid. After Jack personally experienced various events, he believed in the existence of mermaids. At this time, Jack was worried about Ryan being hurt, so he followed. After a long voyage, they came to an unknown sea area. Suddenly the radar showed something moving fast. The captain immediately picked up the harpoon and went to the deck, only to see waves of splashes on the sea. The captain aimed the harpoon at the sea. This girl was walking naked on the street. Seems to be curious about everything she sees. People cast strange glances at her. She saw clothes drying on the side of the road. Directly picked up one and put it on. Just last night, the girl had a hard time transforming. Just woke up from a deep sleep. The girl's name is Lion. She is the top predator in the ocean. The legendary mermaid. Just because her sister was captured by the Fish King, later taken away by the human military, he took the risk to come ashore to find his sister. The woman found that Lion had stolen her clothes, then approached Lion with a fragrant mouth. Lion in a panic picked up an iron stick, easily pierced the pillar next to the woman. The woman was scared and retreated. After leaving, Lion came to Helen's antique shop again, but this time Helen seemed to be prepared. Helen carefully asked Lion, why would she come here to find her? But Lion can't speak human language at this time. He picked up a porcelain doll on the shelf, broke it in half. One represents himself, another represents his sister. Indicate to Helen that he is here to find his sister. Helen now understands Lion's intention. He gave Lion the clothes he brought, temporarily settled him at home. Lion is very hungry at this time, but he can't eat human food at all. Helen knows what he needs. Immediately went out to prepare food for Lion. At night, a fishing boat is parked somewhere in the Bering Strait. The radar shows that something is moving fast. The captain took up the fishing gun and came to the deck. I saw big waves on the sea. The captain held up the fish gun and aimed at the sea. Jack was worried that Lion would be injured. Timely reached out and deflected the fish gun, but Jack didn't know that Lion was not in the sea at this time. Just as the captain blamed Jack, a weird sound suddenly came from the sea. Jack thought it was Lion who was injured. Immediately took off his clothes and plunged into the sea, but there is no lion figure underwater. At this time Jack found something behind the propeller is shining. Jack pulled it out with force. Aizen said that the sound of abandonment and the mermaid caught a few days ago. The sound is exactly the same. Later, the mermaid was forcibly taken away by the military. Then this thing appeared at the bottom of the boat, and this guy who looks like a monitoring instrument must be related to the military. The two said they wanted to use this thing to find out. Jack, who returned home, told his girlfriend Maddie about the matter. Maddie was shocked when she saw the surveillance video. I didn't expect the mermaid legend to really exist. This completely subverted his cognition. Jack told Maddie, Helen in the town seems to know more about mermaids. He wanted Helen to identify the sound emitted by the instrument. Came to the antique shop. Jack stated his intentions to Helen, then directly turned on the instrument switch. The sound instantly reached Lion's ears. This sound turned out to be the scream of my sister being used as a research sample. Lion angrily overturned the table, quickly appeared in front of my sister. Lion, who was extremely sad, snatched a device. Keep calling my sister's name. Helen told Lion that this is just a recording. Jack carefully turned off the instrument. Lion angrily raised the instrument, but the seawater in the instrument spilled on Lion's arm. I saw Lion's arm start to become a mermaid. Fortunately, there is not much seawater. The arm gradually returned to normal. Slowly Lion also calmed down. Jack now understands Lion's purpose of coming ashore, and expressed willingness to help him find his sister. At this time Lion directly hugged the instrument and walked out. In a mysterious base, Lion's sister is being held in a closed container. At this time the bald doctor, he apologized for human behavior. At this time Lion's sister hummed an ancient and mysterious sound. I saw the doctor approaching like a demon, slowly stretched out his arm. This is the true appearance of a mermaid. After the human military captured him from the deep sea, he was confined in this laboratory. Researchers forcibly extracted his DNA, then injected it into a paralyzed mouse. The next day, the mouse miraculously recovered. The bald doctor was extremely shocked. This creature's DNA has such great potential. If this biological technology is applied to the military, what kind of existence will it create? In the medical room next door, crewmate Chris is lying weakly on the bed. After he was injured by the mermaid that night, the military brought him and the mermaid to this mysterious base together. Chris took the opportunity to get the nurse's phone, and sent a distress message to his companion Aizen. Upon receiving the message, Aizen rushed into the room where his companion was exercising in the morning. His companion angrily greeted his whole family. Only after seeing the message did he realize the seriousness of the matter. Aizen called back. The other party's phone has been turned off. The two found the owner's address based on the number. They immediately drove over. On the other side, the beauty lion is undergoing Jack's examination. The results show lion's intelligence is different from ordinary people. The small-bodied lion weighs as much as 196 tons. His heart rate is also 5 times that of humans. Even the conditioned reflex is fierce. At this time, Lion is like a docile sheep. Accepting Jack's examination, suddenly Lion stretched out his palm, gently stroked Jack's arm, and looked at Jack affectionately. On the other side, Aizen, after the two arrived at their destination, just saw the nurse preparing to go out. The two quietly followed. Until it got dark, the nurse arrived at her destination. Seeing the nurse enter the base guarded by soldiers, they wanted to follow to find out. At this time, 2 armed soldiers ran towards them. The two were scared and hurriedly escaped from the base. The bald doctor received a call from the general. The general said that they received the facial force information returned from the lure device. They found the person who took the equipment, but it was Jack who was displayed on the phone. The next day Jack received a call from Aizen, learned that Aizen and they followed that nurse all the way, arrived at a military institution. Later they were discovered and chased away by soldiers. They are now guarding near the nurse's house. Jack told Lion, his sister is likely to be with Chris, locked in the same place. Anxious Lion wants to go to find his sister immediately, but at this time Lion has been away from the sea for several days. The skin of the body has begun to peel off. Under Jack's strong persuasion, Lion reluctantly agreed to stay, but it is also very dangerous to let Lion stay here alone, so they had to take Lion to Helen's house. Maddie asked Helen how long he could hold on like this. Helen said that every time a person transforms after landing, the time to persist will be longer each time. Seeing the strong Lion, Jack and the two left with peace of mind. Helen took Lion into the room, took out a mysterious liquid, applied it to Lion's skin, and told Lion this can make him stay away from the sea for a longer time. Lion noticed something strange. He slowly lifted Helen's trouser leg, looked at Helen in shock. Chris heard a terrifying scream. He quickly pulled out the syringe and escaped in the chaos. In the corridor, he met a girl covered in blood. The girl seemed to be frightened. Chris thought the girl was also captured, so he took her and ran out together. He took the keys from the girl's pocket, found the location of the car. Finally, using the access card on the girl's neck, the two of them escaped from the base. The next day, Jack found Aizen who was stalking at the nurse's house. At this time, Maddie proposed to go into the house directly to find clues. After entering the house, Maddie found a photo of the nurse being a soldier. It turns out that the nurse is a military doctor. Jack said that the military must be doing some secret experiments. At this time, a car stopped outside. Several people hurriedly hid. The two people who entered the house were the same as them. Looking for something, Jack thought that the nurse must have had an accident. He may not come back here again, and said they must return to the base to check. The doctor who returned to the base found a strange fishtail in the corridor. He picked up the fishtail. The fishtail instantly turned into ashes. At this time, the doctor felt that something was wrong. The doctor entered the laboratory, found corpses all over the room. His most proud assistant also died in the fish tank. Then the doctor immediately checked the surveillance. Only then did he see the truth. The video, the mermaid actually stood up. A tail flew the staff out. The dark laboratory became his hunting ground. Only heard screams from the room. By the time the soldiers arrived, the scene was already full of corpses. The staff had no intention of surviving, and the mermaid has disappeared. Finally, in the corridor surveillance, it was discovered. The mermaid turned into a human, staggering out. At this time, he happened to hit the nurse who was going out. Let the nurse take a box lunch on the spot, and put the nurse's clothes on. Later met Chris, escaped from the base with him. At this time, Jack and the others didn't know that their companions had escaped from the laboratory. They quietly came to the outside of the military base. Through the wire fence, they found the soldiers put something like a body bag on the car. They thought it was Chris inside. Aizen hurriedly followed. At this time, Jack received a call. Knowing that Ryan's body is getting weaker and weaker, Jack said that Aizen and the others are looking for Chris. They must go back and send Ryan back to the sea. Looking at Ryan who was about to return to the sea, Maddie gave him her beloved necklace. Jack gave Ryan a locator. Tell him that this thing can find his position. They will go to help when in danger. Ryan looked at Jack trustingly, and let him put on the necklace. At this time, Jack's phone rang. It was Aizen who found Chris. It turns out that Aizen didn't follow the military vehicle for long, just received a call from Chris. The weak Chris told him the location. The two hurriedly turned around and rushed to the destination. After hearing the news, Ryan, regardless of life and death, he insisted on looking for his sister. Inside the military base, the general saw the messy laboratory. After enduring countless hardships, Ryan finally found her sister. At this moment, the two sisters expressed their feelings of missing each other by joining hands. Since her sister was taken away in the deep sea, Ryan turned into a human and came ashore to find her sister. Fortunately, Ryan met kind-hearted Jack and Maddie. With their help, Ryan finally saw her sister. The sister held the extremely weak Ryan, slowly walked towards the sea. In the end, the two sisters dived into the sea together. When Maddie and Jack arrived, watching the two sisters return to their own world, the two of them were full of reluctance. A month later, Jack, not far from the coast, found a female dragonfish corpse. What made Jack strange was, dragonfish belong to deep-sea fish, living under 600 meters of water all year round. How could it suddenly be found near the coast? Maddie joked that it might be mermaid driving. Then Maddie dissected the dragonfish. He found that there were various enzymes missing in the dragonfish's digestive tract. The content is also abnormal. This shows that the dragonfish was starved to death. Jack felt something was strange. At this time, the tracker suddenly alarmed. The two found that Ryan was approaching the land. Jack thought that Ryan must have had something happen. They followed the tracker to the beach. Maddie found a fish tail. He touched it lightly. The fish tail instantly turned into ashes. Jack also found another fish tail next to him. At this time, the tracker shows Ryan left the coast and entered the woods. Maddie stayed to collect fish tail samples. Jack quickly went to find it with the tracker. At night, Ryan appeared in the woods cautiously. Ryan's sister followed closely behind. They came to the edge of the stadium. Ryan picked up the clothes and put them on. The sister was unwilling to contact humans anymore because of the abuse by humans before. He saw the necklace on his sister's neck. Angry, tore it off and threw it out. Ryan solemnly told her sister, now the only ones who can help them are humans. Then he threw the clothes to his sister, then ran to the distance. After the last lesson, the military helped the doctor design a new type of intelligent fish tank. The shell is more solid than before. Just press it lightly. Can make the sample completely calm down. At the same time, the military also asked the local government, allow fishermen to go fishing without restrictions for a short time. They want to force the mermaid to show up. In the end, what awaits the mermaid will be these cold cages. Jack and the two followed the locator to find, but did not find Ryan's figure. On the way back, Maddie told the sea about Ryan's return. The two returned to the research center, surprised to find that Ryan has returned here. Ryan introduced his sister to them. At this time, Helen just arrived. Immediately asked Ryan why he returned to the shore. Ryan said that because of overfishing by humans, there is no food in the sea where they live. They risked coming ashore just to find food. At this time, the sister saw the dragonfish on the table, thought it was Jack who took their food. Suddenly became angry. He grabbed Jack's neck. Ryan saw this and quickly stepped forward to stop. Suddenly the two sisters fought together. Fortunately, Jack lit the flare. This scared Ryan's sister away. The hungry sister sneaked into the fishing port warehouse. He pushed the lid open, just picked up the raw fish and gnawed it. At this time, the on-duty staff found him. The sister turned her head. The sharp eyes scared the man to want to escape. The sister jumped up and strangled the man's neck. The two fell to the ground together. The man urgently pressed the alarm. The sister was scared away by the alarm. Ryan told her sister. Sister was abused by humans after being caught. They extract his blood for experiments every day. Also took off the skin tissue on his body. So the sister hates humans very much. In order to prevent Ryan's sister from harming innocent humans, Helen decided to find him in person. The next day Helen really found Ryan's sister by the sea. He doesn't want history to repeat itself. Don't want the mermaid race to be slaughtered by humans again. He took Ryan's sister back to his residence. Helen told Ryan's sister that she would definitely help him.
I am one of you.
Just a few hours ago, at a dinner party, Jack's mother introduced him to a marine biologist. Jack took a closer look. This man is exactly what Aizen said he was. A scientist working for the military, but a scientist in disguise. Jack knew nothing about mermaids, but Jack deliberately revealed it to the scientist. The bad scientist looked at Jack in disbelief, and then asked Jack to tell him where the mermaids were. Jack agreed to the doctor's request, provided that the military stops all operations to catch mermaids, in order to see the mermaid again. He told Jack about the military's plan. The doctor said that a heavily armed warship would be coming tonight, to the place where the mermaids were last captured. They'll use bait to lure the mermaids out, and then they'll catch them with fire. Jack is saddened. Will the tragedy of centuries past repeat itself? It wasn't long before the mermaid's ancient song reached his ears. The scientists followed the sound and soon found it. And Jack came to the forest. Deep in the forest, under a big tree, Sister Lion came out. It turned out that he had deliberately lured the scientist here with his song. The scientist went over to him and apologized. It was not his intention. Then Lion appeared behind him. The scientist is shocked. There's someone else. Lane grabbed the bad scientist with both hands and lifted him up. He lifts him up and slams him to the ground. Then he held him down with both hands, just as he was about to die. Jack told Ryan, only this bad scientist can stop this. Ryan let him go. But when the scientist called, the military responded that the operation had already begun. The angry sister threw him into a tree. Then the two of them quickly disappeared into the forest. The sister went to the beach to save her people, diving into the sea, completing the transformation underwater, rushing to the deep sea, and all this was seen by Aizen. He immediately called Jack to go out to sea. Here Lion also came to the sea. Just as Lion was about to enter the sea, a Fobler appeared behind him. Lion was taken to the interrogation room of the police station. At this time the chief of police came in. The chief of police directly asked Lion about the body of a man in the forest. Lion, who can't lie, told the chief everything, but the chief thought Lion was so weak. It is impossible for one person to kill an adult man, and kicked out of the car. The chief asked Lion if anyone helped him, but Lion mistakenly mentioned Jack and Maddie. The chief was incredulous, immediately called his daughter Maddie to the police station. Maddie saw that things had come to this, can no longer hide, so he told the chief father the ins and outs of the matter. Then, Maddie sprinkled the seawater in the fish tank on Lion's hand. Lion's palm began to transform instantly after touching the seawater. The chief looked at all this in shock. Everyone arrived at the last place where the mermaid was caught, found a ship drifting on the sea. Several people picked up the harpoon and stepped on it. There was no one on the deck. They found guns and blood on the deck. Just as they were looking around, suddenly a long hair came out of the sea. Then another one. Only saw a creature jump onto the ship from the sea. This is actually a male mermaid. The male mermaid with fierce eyes approached Jack Boo Boo. In an emergency, Aizen fired a shot to deter him. Another shot forced him close. Inside the cabin, suddenly a weird sound came from the deck. I saw Lion's sister staring at Chris ghostly. Chris seemed to be hypnotized. Throw away the weapon and walk forward. At a critical moment, companion fired a flare. Jack then pulled Chris back. At this time, Lion's sister held a spear and stared at the two fiercely. Fortunately, Jack pressed the winch button in time. Lion's sister was hit by the fishing net into the sea. Then, Aizen and Jack took their weapons, go to the cabin to find the male mermaid, but only found a mermaid tail that had fallen off. The mermaid has disappeared. At this time, the captain in the cockpit suddenly felt a chill on his back. The father's body was cruelly thrown into the sea by his son. Why is this? It turns out that just a few hours ago, their fishing boat encountered a ghost ship in the deep sea. When they carefully boarded the ship to check, but they were attacked by creatures in the sea, and the one who attacked them was the legendary mermaid. Several people tried their best to repel one of them, but another male mermaid, but he sneaked into the cockpit, attacked the captain. Aizen heard his father's screams and hurried over. He came to the deck and shot at the male mermaid. In the end, he could only watch him escape into the sea. Looking at the dying father, Aizen didn't have time to ask for the bank card password. The father went west. At this time, Aizen blamed all these conspiracies, all blamed on the mermaid. Looking at his father's body, Aizen is extremely sad, but they can't directly transport the father's body back. They can't explain to people the cause of their father's death, because no one will believe their reasons. On the contrary, it will cause prison disaster. Aizen can only bear the grief. Left his father's body in the sea, then tell Jack and the three of them. The father was drowned by the fishing net. The next day Maddie told Lion about last night. Lion feels extremely ashamed. He found the depressed Aizen. Lion feels extremely guilty for the death of Aizen's father. At this time, Aizen seemed to perceive something. He thinks this Lion is not so simple. Then he wanted to catch up and ask clearly. At this time Jack stopped Aizen, and told him everything. Aizen, who knew the truth, was furious. He now hates the mermaid race. Immediately returned home. Pick up the weapon and go to find Lion for revenge. On the beach, a little Teddy is barking at the water. It seems that there is something terrible in the water. Teddy's owner looked at the sea, but found nothing. When they left, three shadows flashed vaguely in the water. Soon after, on a remote beach, I saw three mermaids transforming in pain. Then the mermaid turned into a human. Just happened to meet a human who came to deliver skin. It turns out that the long-haired mermaid is the leader of the underwater tribe. This time he came ashore for Lion. Lion's sister took the leader to Helen's antique shop. Helen noticed something strange, suddenly became nervous. Lion's sister wanted to know where her sister was. Seeing Helen did not answer for a long time, the male mermaid pressed Helen against the wall. The leader didn't want to alarm the humans, had to leave temporarily. Helen, who was frightened, immediately notified Jack. After Lion learned the news, in order to avoid innocent humans being hurt, he decided to see the leader. Lion knew where his sister would go to find him. Lion, who returned to the ocean center. Sure enough, he found the leader waiting for him. Lion saw the leader and bowed his head in submission, but the leader was murderous towards Lion. Lion's sister in the dark finally understood. It turns out that the leader came here not to take Lion back, but to kill Lion. The brave sister blocked Lion behind her. The battle is imminent. On the verge, Jack cleverly picked up a basin of seawater and splashed it on him. Several people were in pain after touching the seawater, because once a mermaid touches the seawater, will instinctively start to transform. This process is like a curved star pupil. Jack took the opportunity to drive the two sisters away. After arriving at a safe place, Jack felt that things were not that simple. Why does the leader want to kill Lion? Lion told Jack, there is an old legend in the mermaid race. Hundreds of years ago, one of their tribes and a human were together, stayed for a long time. Later they developed feelings for each other, and gave birth to a child. But the child who was born did not look normal. His tribe took the child away from the man, and took the child to the forest to kill. Later the tribe returned to the sea. The man who lost his beloved son was full of hatred. He led many humans to sea to retaliate against the mermaids. The massacre that time almost wiped out the mermaid race. They worry that the tragedy will be repeated on Lion. This is the reason why the leader came ashore to kill Lion. The chief of police is patrolling the street at night. Suddenly two strange-looking people appeared in front. This is the true face of the mermaid. The human military caught him and took him to the laboratory. Prepare for biological research. Due to the negligence of the researchers, the mermaid escaped from the laboratory. The angry mermaid tribe launched a crazy revenge on humans. The chief of police looked at the two strange people in front of him. They are the leaders and people of the mermaid tribe. The chief of police, who felt bad, immediately called for support. At this time, the male mermaid suddenly jumped on the police car. Fierce, the leader came over and smashed the glass with a punch. In an emergency, the chief of police picked up a gun to fight back. The two were frightened and fled. The chief of police immediately drove after the male mermaid. Then the chief of police shook his head, directly stunned the male mermaid. At this time, Maddie, sitting in front of the intercom, told Jack about the whereabouts of the mermaid. Aizen, who was angry, wanted to avenge his father, immediately turned around and headed for the destination. Just as the chief of police was on his way back to the police station, the male mermaid suddenly woke up, crazy, hitting the wire mesh with his head, caused the police car to lose control and hit a car on the side of the road. When the chief of police woke up, the male mermaid was gone. The chief of police picked up the gun and walked cautiously on the street. Lion came to the street and made a weird sound. The leader not far away was attracted. Here Aizen and a few people are ready to ambush. The mermaid leader followed the sound and found it. The leader suddenly found a few people hiding in the dark. He reversed and held Lion in front of him, quickly escaped into the darkness. Jack and a few people quickly chased after him. Lion was pushed into the warehouse by the leader. The leader threw Lion on the ground with one hand. Jack and a few people rushed over and quickly joined the battle. At this time, Aizen arrived at the scene, just as Aizen was about to shoot, but was attacked by the male mermaid above his head and fell to the ground. Seeing this, Lion picked up the anchor and smashed it at the male mermaid. Aizen took the opportunity to shoot at the mermaid. The mermaid, who was afraid of the gun sound, was scared and fled. Then the two broke into Helen's antique shop. They are ready to pick up weapons to fight back against Jack. Several people are looking around on the street. Suddenly a long hair flew over, almost sent Jack away. The leader's attack was unsuccessful. Hurry up and leave the scene. Lion followed closely. The leader, hiding in the dark, suddenly attacked Lion. Lion was heavily knocked to the ground. Angry Lion began to fight back. Lion took the opportunity to knock the leader to the ground. Immediately used the unique skill to return my ticket punch. In the end, the leader surrendered, completely lost to Lion. Jack, walking on the street, encountered a male mermaid. When Jack fired, but found that the bullets had been shot, the male mermaid threw Jack away with one hand. Just as Jack was about to get his meal, Lion appeared with the defeated leader. The male mermaid slowly walked towards Lion, kneel down in submission. It turns out that the mermaid tribe is a matriarchal society. Lion defeated the leader. He has now become the new leader. At this time, Aizen came with a gun. Angry Aizen wants to avenge his father. Jack, to prevent the two races from fighting, rushed towards Aizen, but the bullet hit Lion's sister. In the end, Lion's sister died. The next day, under the leadership of Helen, everyone took Lion's sister's body, came to a mysterious island. Helen said, "This will be the best destination for Lion's sister." It turns out that in the legend, the mermaid and the human gave birth to a deformed child, did not die, but was adopted by a local doctor, and that child is Helen's ancestor. All the people buried here are descendants of mermaids. In the end, Lion chose to bury his sister here. After experiencing all this, Lion's heart is full of sadness. All this is because of him. In order not to bring harm to the people around him, Lion chose to leave silently. But can his departure, can it really bring peace to the mermaid tribe and humans? Aizen's companion in the bar is drinking sullen wine. The girlfriend despises him for not making money. Keep nagging him in front of him. He raised his head and looked at the mermaid sculpture, then took out the phone and dialed out.